All right, and we are rolling. What's going on, guys? It's Jane Lancaster, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about how I went from absolute broke and broken to making more than a doctor at the ripe age of 20 years old without a college degree. And for context, I did this in virtual life insurance sales. Now, I still sell life insurance, but I have a sales organization under me that helps me buy back my time, have all the time freedom, location freedom that I want, and honestly, I was able to change my life in under 2 years. And I'm going to talk about how you can do the same. But more importantly, I want to give you guys a very realistic view of what this timeline looks like, because on social media, all you guys see is, to be honest, the end result. You see the nice watches, the nice cars, the nice things, the trips, the vacations, and whatnot. And because of that, all these people, they go start out opportunities where they could actually be very, very successful, and they quit before it actually works because they're so misled, thinking that they're supposed to be having all these crazy things happening for them immediately. But in reality, guys, if you're going to walk away with any piece of value from this video, even before I get into it, just understand the work itself has to actually work on you before it works for you. That mentality changed my life completely. But let's fast forward back to December of 2024. And for context clues, guys, I'm not here to give some sob story, play the victim. I actually came from a really great family, had a father who was super successful in business. He absolutely crushed it. And I grew up with an amazing life, amazing background. I got to have the inside scoop on how the rich and successful actually work. And before you guys write me off, I was like, oh, daddy's money. The reason why I was dead broken was because I became completely disconnected from my family. I'm not going to go in detail, but things happen. And just recently, I actually was able to get that resolved, which is really amazing. But I'm so grateful to God because it gave me the opportunity to go out on my own and figure out the world by myself. And to be honest, I think every grown man needs that. And that was really my process of growing up. But anyways, back to December 2024, dead, broken. I was going to ASU. I was in a frat, living the party life. I had done a ton of businesses before and been an entrepreneur my whole life, but I absolutely just I started dating some girl, kind of gave up on everything, went to go do the whole college route and everything like that, and kind of just effed off. I joined a frat. I was just having fun. And then my whole world blew up in my face, and I had only a few options. Either A, take out student loans, finish school, and work for $60K a year at one of these corporate buildings, or B, start working and kind of figure things out. So I remember I was in the car with this girl I was dating at the time, and I saw an Instagram story from some guy I had met at a club when I was underage at like the ripe age of 17. And I remembered keeping up with his Instagram, seeing he was a pretty successful guy in a couple different endeavors. And then one day he posted, some call to action about virtual sales, free leads, and I was like, hey, that sounds like what I need right now. So I hit him up. I hopped on a Zoom call. He told me it was life insurance. To be honest, I didn't even really know what that was. But I just went into it blindly because he said I could make $1,000 a day. So I was like, fuck it, dude, this sounds great. So I got my life insurance license in literally 3 days just because this guy sat there and scheduled my test for 3 days in advance. He's like, yeah, everyone I work with gets their license in 3 days, which that's not true. It's pretty hard to do. But I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I got that freaking license. And then January 1st, I started training with this company. I remember I got on in the morning. They gave some meeting, some speech and whatnot. Then I started watching this guy dial the phone, getting to sales calls and whatnot. And I was like, damn, this is pretty cool. But then I got a chance that day to meet with one of the higher ups in the company. And he gave me his story, told me about how, what it just looked like in this business, doing sales at the highest level, and then being able to teach that to other people and, change their lives in the process. And in return, you build a massive organization. You have passive income, residual income. You're making all this money. And I was like, fuck, dude, that's sick. So at that point, I was like, dude, this guy doesn't have a college degree and he has everything I want in life. I'm going all in on this shit. To be honest, that day, I thought I was going to be a millionaire by the next week because in my head, I'm like, wow, this is a $1 trillion industry. These are a bunch of old farts and no one knows how to leverage social media like I do. I'm going to blow this thing up. But to be honest, it was everything but that in my first couple months. And before you write me off, I was like, oh, I want to make money quick. Guess what? My new agents, they make money quick as fuck now. And that's because they're in the right system. But I'm going to talk about what it looked like winning at the wrong system and how it built the mindset, the discipline, the mental fortitude to actually go out and crush it in literally anything I do now. So back to my first month. Literally, I told myself I didn't have an option, because I remember my mom was like going off of me. She's like, dude, commission only sales, like maybe you should just wait tables and go to school part-time. But I've always had a pretty high identity in this world, especially because I did grow up around successful people. So I was like, dude, I can't lower myself to do that. Like I need to go out into the marketplace to make millions and millions of dollars, because that's who I am and that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm going somewhere uncapped and I'm taking the risk. And that's exactly what I did. And without having an option to fail, I was like, I have to make this work. Because a lot of people fail because they just see cool shit on the internet. They're like, oh, I'll try this out. Me, I was like, I'm gonna try this until it freaking works, because I don't have an option. I think that's why I succeeded, to be honest with you. There's no freaking way to sugarcoat it. But anyways, literally every single day for the first month, I'm dialing with this guy, just watching him. I'm kind of dialing the phone, but I suck. They barely even gave me leads. And we're dialing all day from like 9 to 9. And then after 9 p.m. to like 11, we're studying the presentation and, teaching me how to actually sell at a high level. And with that, I mean, like I had a girlfriend at the time. I had friends at the time. I had to burn all the freaking bridges and go all in. I'm not telling you guys to go, switch up on your family and everything, but it takes that level of drive and dedication to truly make it. Like, you guys see all this shit polarized on the internet. People making money look easy, but it's really not. Anyone successful you talk to that doesn't have a course to sell you is gonna genuinely be upfront and honest. It's a freaking grind, and that's why it's not for everyone, okay? So I'm not very keen on telling people making money is easy. It's not. It's actually really hard, but for those who are willing to do hard work, I know I can make you a lot of money. That's really the truth here. So scratch that. I'm grinding every single day. First month, I think I made like $500 because I came in this stupid ass business model where they gave me leads in states I wasn't even licensed in. So I had to put all these sales under the guy that was above me, and it kind of just sucked. And to be honest, I thought about giving up 100 times over again, but I'm the type of guy that needs to win in everything I do. So I didn't even give myself that option. And honestly, it wasn't even until my third month that I started really seeing the fruits. And I think it was month 4 that I actually made my first $10,000 profit in a month, which, like I said, now I have people that come into my business and make over $10,000 in their very first month, if not 20. But anyways, so at that point, this company, they're very, very good at making you feel very good about yourself. Just making $10,000 a month. I mean, honestly, I had done that before in crypto and the stock market and reselling, all these other side hustles that I had growing up. But this was one that I really freaking worked for to develop the skill set. Now that I know sales, I know I'll never go broke, which is kind of badass. It took me 4 months of absolute grind, which now, like I said, you can do that a lot quicker if you're in a better system. But I freaking did it. And I felt like I was on top of the world. And this company made me feel like I was on top of the world till I remember I got to month 9 in the company. I actually qualified for this trip, and they took me to Ibiza, Spain, all paid for. So at this point, I'm making over $10,000 a month. I'm qualifying for these trips. Next thing you know, people are hitting me up nonstop on social media. Bro, how do I be like you? What do I do? What do you do? What do you do? Because to be honest, that company was really good at making you look like you're making a lot more money than you really were. But anyways, I think my best month, I was right under $20,000, which is still great money for someone first year in sales with no degree, by the way. Making over 6 figures in sales is fucking badass, dude. You don't have a boss. You're pretty much working your own schedule. So that is sick. But I don't want to discount that, but it is a lot of hard work. So I want to do this shit to make millions of dollars, if I'm being honest with you. But anyways, at this point, I start recruiting a ton of people into the business, because once you know the skill set, you can recruit other people, you can teach them how to change their lives, and you get money in return for that, which is badass. That's the beauty of building a sales organization, duplicating yourself into other people, and with that, you get to buy back your time and have more freedom to do the things you love, and that is why I love this business so much. It's not like high-ticket sales where you're just confined to the amount of leads an offer can give you. You can literally scale this thing infinitely. There's people that have sold their life insurance business for hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, this shit is real. So with that, I start recruiting a ton of people. And the first challenge I run into is leadership. I didn't know how to lead other people. I didn't know how to train other people. And to be quite frank, the system that I was in was so broken. It was so hard to sell and so hard to get paid. I had people just fail in front of me time after time after time after time. A lot of times it was their fault. Yes, they didn't put in enough work. A lot of times too, it was my fault because I didn't have the true discipline, drive, and authority to be a real leader and actually hold people accountable. But also it was that sales process was really just set up for people to fail with. And that's why they were able to give you free leads, because they were so freaking trash. But anyways, I burned through all these people, and at that point, I've been at the company for a year. I had made all right money, but looking back, they're painting me out to be some rock star, and I'm like, dude, I don't have a nice apartment yet. I don't have a nice car yet. I don't have a cool watch or anything like that. Like, where's the fruit of all this shit? And I don't have a business. I don't have people under me doing well. So at that point, I started looking around because I was freaking depressed. I had worked my ass off, felt like a badass for so long, and then I feel like all of a sudden I just woke up. I was like, all right, maybe I'm in the wrong position. So I found this kid that was actually local to me. I met him through a few mutuals who, he was in the life insurance business, but he was at a brokerage organization, whereas I was at a captive, which I can make a whole nother video talking about the difference between captive and brokerage. In my opinion, it's brokerage all the way. Brokers make the most money. They build the biggest business. They have full ownership and equity in what they do. It's badass. But anyways, I was at a captive. We had low commission. We had shit leads. The leads were free, but they made up for it with a shitty commission. That's why they're able to give it to you for free. And with that, you didn't own your book of business. You couldn't sell it or anything like that. And the sales process was freaking 2 hours long, dude. 2 hours to make $1,000, it's kind of hard to scale and kind of hard to teach people a 2-hour sales presentation and get them off the ground running. So that was my ideas when I left. But I see this kid who's my age, he's making $50K a month. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I want to make $50K a month. How do I do that? So anyways, I didn't want to leave this company because the people there were literally like damn near family and father figures to me. Because when I had no one, they were there for me. They brought me closer to God. They did a lot of great things for me. But then when I actually started, entertaining the idea of leaving, they would shut me down in an instant. They're saying, oh, that's, outside forces, you're comparing yourself to other people, when in reality, those people were onto something, and they were doing something better than me, and they knew things that I didn't know. So anyways, eventually I got so sick and tired of just not getting the results that I wanted and feeling like I was just grinding my ass off. Yeah, I was making all right money for a 20-year-old, but I was like, fuck, dude, I want to make some real bread. I want a Lambo. I want the penthouse apartment. I want all the nice shit. So I hit this kid up. I'm like, bro, to be honest with you, like, I really don't want to leave this company, but like, can you guarantee me if I, just do everything that you've done, that I'm going to make more money than where I'm at? He's like, yes, like undoubtedly, 1,000%. So he made me a great offer to leave, and I fucking left. And to be honest, I didn't want to burn some bridges, but in reality, all the people I thought that cared about me, they don't really give a fuck once they're not making money off of you anyways. So I leave that company, and I'm like, all right, bro, I just want to make absolute FU money. So I want to pause right here. I want you guys to think about this. So yeah, I did a year and a half of sales. In a lot of people's eyes, making over 6 figures at 20 years old is great, but I wanted more. But what I did learn from being in that broken system, I learned extreme discipline. I was up every single day at freaking 5 in the morning. I went and hit the gym, freaking cold plunge. I'm not saying that's the key to make you successful, but I came in sharp as fuck every single day. I was going to bed by 10 every single night. Even when I finished working at 9:30, I'd finish at 9:59 and go drink a protein shake. Boom, I'd pass out and go to bed. Dude, I lost so many friends, girlfriends, and all that shit I had to give up just because my underlying, want and desire for success was so much greater that I was willing to do absolutely anything to get there. So I learned extreme discipline. Number one, I got in the best shape of my life. I went from, some scared little kid to a confident guy. Like right now I'm 200 pounds and I'm decently lean. Like I feel like I could run over a motherfucker. I feel like a beast, if I'm being honest. And then with that too, just my mindset. I knew how to look at adversity as opportunity. I knew how to be in the absolute worst situation that would literally crumble most people and look at it as, fuck yeah, I'm gonna win. So my whole mindset had just completely changed. I was the fittest point I ever been. I was just an overall absolute specimen after that year and a half. And these are the things now that if I had all that whole package, the discipline, the mindset, the fitness, the authority, the identity that I have now when I first started, dude, I know I would have crushed it from freaking day one. So those are the biggest things in, this marketplace, is just being able to take over. So before I talk about how I changed my life in the span of literally just a couple months, last thing I want to say is, guys, in this day and age of internet money, there is so much opportunity, especially in the sales world. All right? You have a ton of people who, number one, they're going to be setters and closers for the rest of their life. They're going to make 5 to 10K a month for the rest of their life, and they're fine with that. You go into these businesses, there's 40, 50-year-old guys who are cool making 10K a month, but there's trillions of dollars going around in this industry. So if you can come in and be so much sharper, so much stronger, have so much more tenacity, and have the identity that people actually want to follow, from the way you look on social media, from the way you present yourself, from the way you speak, you are going to fucking run over this marketplace. All right? So now that I've built myself into that person, I go join this opportunity. I tell that guy, I'm like, hey, I need you to teach me everything you know. He's like, okay. I'm like, no, dude, I'm going to be at your fucking house tomorrow, and I'm going to sit there right next to you, and I'm going to do this shit until I'm making 50K a month so I don't look like an idiot for leaving that other job. Like, I came in with absolute, a terrifying drive. It was honestly scary how bad I wanted to win. So next thing you know, for a whole month straight, I'm buying my own leads now, number one, which that kind of changed everything to me. I'll touch on it, but I was able to talk to much higher intent and quality people because I was paying for it, and it wasn't a big deal paying for it because my commission was 50% higher than it was at that other company. So I come in, buy my own leads, and I'm like, hey, I'm ready to go all in. Let's fucking boogie. I'm dialing with this kid from 9 to 9 every single day. I'm literally not leaving his apartment. I'm not eating. I'm not fucking scrolling on Instagram. I'm not even texting my freaking girlfriend at the time back until I get a freaking sale. Like, I literally just hunted until I killed every single day for 30 days. I didn't think about anything else. And guess what? I get to the end of the month and I check my bank statement. Keep in mind, first time, I'm in a completely new opportunity, completely new products, new sales process, new scripts. I made $20,000 for the first time ever in sales, my first month. And then the next month, I made damn near $30,000. And then after that, I had already been a guy. In that year and a half, I built so much authority, and I built the identity of someone who was respected in that space so much that when people went and saw me have crazy results, and because I knew how to market it the right way, I had $1 million sales team in 3 months. $1 million sales team in 3 months. I've been working a year so freaking hard to get that, and in 3 months, I made 2x what I made in that year at that other company. So moral of the story was, I got in a better vehicle, but I had so much tenacity, so much discipline that when I actually got the right sales opportunity, excuse me, guys, I destroyed it. So if you guys are going to take anything away from this video, what I want you to know is anytime you feel like it's not working, you're doing more than 99.9% of people, right? Most people quit before things can actually go through with them. If there's someone at an opportunity, whether it's freaking life insurance, solar, pest control, any internet money, any business model on this freaking planet, if there's someone winning there, you can win too, as long as you're not, confined to like a corporate job where people have to come like you to move you up in the company. If you're in a straight performance-based business, you can do what anyone is doing in that company, all right? So take that for what it is, but if I can give you another piece of sauce, at the end of the day, this is sales. It's a transfer of emotion, and honestly, your business becomes a transfer of who you are as a person. So the people that I see winning in this business time after time after time after time, because there's so many people in it, and there's so many people that never move up, and it's all because they don't have an identity above other people. So how do you get an identity above other people? You got to be fitter than them. You got to be more well-spoken than them. You got to be willing to work longer and harder than them, no matter what. So knowing what I know now I can go into a brand new sales opportunity and make $20,000 in 1 month, my very first month. And with that, what I do now is I don't just sit there and recruit anyone and everyone. I like to work one-on-one with people, and before I even, plug them into sales and just say, go fish, I make sure they're the highest performer possible. I make sure they have the identity, so when they go stand next to other guys, they're the ones who are going to lead. They're the ones who people are going to want to follow, and they're the ones that are going to build multi-million-dollar businesses because that's who they are and that's what their identity is. And people are going to respect them because they're so disciplined that they get so much better results than everyone. That's who I work with. So guys, if you're kind of teetering the idea of sales, or if you're already in sales and you want to just start crushing everyone and absolutely dominate this marketplace, I have a link down below. I'm looking for just a couple people I can work one-on-one with and truly build into that person who identifies and is looked at simply just better than everyone else, not in an arrogant way, but in a truthful way where you can truly lead people and change their lives too. Click the link down below, fill out a form. We'll see if we can work together. If not, it's cool. Maybe I can give you some value. But anyways, guys, that's going to be my first Yap video on here. We did absolutely no cuts, no nothing. And that's how you can go make a freaking doctor's salary without a degree at the ripe age of 20 years old.